the type of girls that he wanted. He was inquiring that he needed white girls with, big butts and, big breasts, and girls that can squirt to the ceiling.
Alrighty guys, Kentucky falls to Kansas State. And it's one of those games where it was you think you've seen it all in a ball game, people, but we saw something amazing this game. We saw Kentucky miss a lot of free throws, especially Washington. You feel sorry for Washington, how if he would have made a few more of his free throws, it would have been all the difference in the game. There were a lot of fouls called this game, but we didn't capitalize on it. It was a very slow and painful game to watch, and I never felt that Kentucky was going to win the game. I just never had that feeling. I had a strange feeling going into the game, and I thought, we're just not going to win. And of course it started out 13-1, and after that we recovered, I guess, somewhat. We got the lead in the second half, but I never felt Kentucky was going to win the game. I never felt confident in them. They did a good job with Alexander. They really took him out of the game. Knox didn't do much. Diallo didn't do much. Washington had a ton of free throws, of course. Gabriel didn't do nothing. Everything that went wrong everything that could go wrong did go wrong for Kentucky. And it was partly the way, the style of the game, the way Kansas State played the game. And this is a bad loss. There's no doubt about it. Kentucky fell short. It was open for us to get to the Final Four, or at least the Elite Eight at worst. But Kentucky fell. We fell short. And that's how it goes. This team somewhat overachieved, I guess you could say, but it was right there for us, people. Kansas State. Right there for us, and we fell short. And that's the beauty of March Madness. That's the beauty of March Madness either way. Look what happened to Virginia. And that's why it's called March Madness. You don't take it for granted. And one thing that did bother me a lot was before the game when I always go to the message boards on Rupp Rafters, on Rivals.com. And it was bad because all the Kentucky fans were not a lot of them. I mean, whatever majority is on the message board, they were a lot of them who were very confident in Kentucky winning. And they were being very sarcastic, saying Kansas State's going to win the game by 10 or more. We have no chance and all this. They were being sarcastic, making fun of Kansas and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, I just don't feel like that's going to happen tonight. Just had a strange feeling that we would lose, people. And we did. It was a very ugly game, but this is the beauty of college basketball. Like I said, we had a good season, not a great season, but it's not good enough for Kentucky standards. This may be okay for everybody else in the SEC to get to the Sweet 16. That may be okay, but to Kentucky fans and to me myself, it's not, because Kentucky fans complain about the draw every year. Oh, we've got bad seeding and all that. And to me, it looks like it was about right. I mean, let's be honest. We lost to a Kansas State team they pretty much don't have a chance of winning the national title. Let's just be honest. They're probably going to get beat the next game or the next game, whatever. They're not going to win it all. But Kentucky, we fell short. A lot of it goes on the coach. Most of it goes on the coach. It really does. As bad as we played, we had a chance to win it, but we didn't. And of course, there's some people talking about how Kentucky did not congratulate the Kansas State players after the game, where they were celebrating and all that. And part of the reason, I know it's going to be hard for people to understand, part of the reason Kentucky did not go over there and shake their hands and stuff is because Kansas State, they were celebrating like they won the national championship when they beat Kentucky. They were celebrating like that. And I guess they didn't want to go over there and sit there and wait for Kansas to quit celebrating to shake their hands. But that's not a big deal to me. I mean, so what? Kansas State won the game. There was no bad blood after the game with Kentucky players trashing the other team or nothing like that. They didn't shake hands. Now, Kentucky could have went, what I was thinking is the Kentucky players could have went to their locker room and congratulated them after the game like that if they didn't want to stay on the court. But you can look at it either way. You can say it's bad sportsmanship. Kentucky, Coach Cal's a scumbag and all this. But this is the first time I can remember Kentucky not congratulating the other team. I mean, this is one that I can't remember any other time that the players didn't shake hands. So there's always different ways of looking at everything, just like politics. And congratulations to Kansas State, of course. And of course, just because Kentucky lost, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to watch other games. I'm going to watch almost every game, you know, tonight and tomorrow. I'll be watching all the games. Because I'm just a big basketball fan. Sure, we would have liked to have done better, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We can get over it, you know. You're going to lose more years than you're going to lose more than you win in the tournament. You're not going to win it every year. You're not going to win the national championship every year. But it doesn't change anything with me. And, of course, still love watching basketball. Going to enjoy watching the rest of the tournament. Don't really have anybody I'm pulling for right now. I guess the only two teams I hope don't win it would be Duke and North Carolina. Other than that, I hope anybody else wins it. Other than those two teams, that's pretty much it. But other than that, people, you know, it's been an interesting year of Kentucky basketball yet again. And we're going to have to wait and see who comes back and who goes. If my guess is that Knox and Alexander are gone, that's two I can say have the best chance of leaving to the NBA would be Alexander and Knox. But you never know. They might decide to stay. One might go. I don't know. I don't see Diallo going. I don't see Gabriel going. I don't see Washington going. I don't see Richards going. I don't see Green going. I mean, everybody's going to pretty much be back except for one or two. At least that's the way I see it. Who knows? Washington may. I mean, just never know. We've seen players that we thought there's no way they're going to go, and they go. But anyway, guys, just enjoy the rest of the tournament. I know this is a bad loss for the Kentucky fans, but we've been through some bad losses many a time before. Many a time. It's part of what being a basketball fan is, especially when you're part of the greatest college basketball program of all time, the Kentucky Wildcats. You know, it was right there for us. Everybody was talking about it. Kentucky's wide open to the Final Four. And even all the announcers the last few days, Kentucky's going to win their game. Everybody had Kentucky pick to win Kansas State game. But, you know, it's a Sweet 16. I guess you could say we're the 16th best team in the country. Is that something you want to say, really? Not really, no. No, but that's how it is. I guess we're not the 16th best because they were other teams that played yesterday, but you get what I'm saying. You always want to be the best at what you do. And Kentucky fell short this year. We're still stuck on 8 national championships. I know it's hard to swallow that. We're stuck on 8. We've been stuck on 8 since 2012. You know, at least we didn't get a national title stripped from us like Louisville. You know, at least we're not on the brink of collapse like Indiana and Louisville and those programs. At least we're in the conversation every year of being a team that can win it all. I know it's frustrating. Believe me, I know. We should have won more than one championship under Coach Cal. We don't always get what we want, though. Let's just see what happens, people. Let's see who comes in as the recruits. Let's see who stays. And remember, we are part of the greatest tradition out there, the Kentucky Wildcats. And part of the reason you got to remember why everybody hates Kentucky, except for the people in Kentucky. Of course, there's Kentucky fans all over the United States. We know that. But it's just like Duke and North Carolina and Kansas. Those teams, like I hate Duke and North Carolina. They hate Kentucky for the most part, those fan bases. It's because we're good. It's because we are, you know, you're hated because you're so good and you always win. They're like, oh, there's Kentucky again. They got all their wins, all their national championships. Oh, there's Duke. They got Coach K. They got Rat Face, you know, and they got, oh, there's North Carolina. They got Roy Williams. They got their academic fraud, and they're still playing in the tournament, and all this stuff. You know, all this stuff, that's just how it is in college basketball. At least we are Kentucky, and every year we have a shot to win it. So we'll see what happens, guys. You know, before you know it, it'll be football season. And then before you know it, it's going to be right back again. The greatest college basketball program of all time is going to be back yet again to try to win that 9th championship. I would like to see Coach Cal at least win 2 more before he's done coaching Kentucky. I think that would be great to have 10 national championships. That's a nice number. Maybe 2 more in the next 4 to 5 years. So 4 to 6 years or something like that. Of course, we'd like to win 1 every year, but, you know, let's be realistic. Maybe 2 more in 6 years. Maybe 2 in a row. Anyway, we never know, people. We never know. Just enjoy it for what it is. At the end of the day, it's a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds playing a game. And we pull for them. We pull for them. We hope for the best. And it's just great. It's great. It really is. It's fun to watch college basketball. I love college sports. There's nothing quite like it. Even though we know a lot of the players are probably getting paid and all that stuff, it's still, you still see it. You still see the joy. And we saw some joy out of Kentucky these last 10 games where they went 9-1 or 9-2 now, I guess you could say. We saw a lot of joy. We saw the team come together. We saw them have a good time. And it fell apart last night. Kansas State played defense. They slowed that game up, and they pretty much were just using the shot clock and making a clutch 3 here and there. But we saw a lot this year. We had a good season. Not great, not by Kentucky standards, but it's fun to watch. You know, it's always fun to watch Kentucky no matter what, or any sporting event. You know, a lot of other schools would be tickled to death. They'd be like, oh, we got to the Sweet 16. We did the best. We had a great season. But that's just not how it is in Kentucky. It's not. My goal every year is Kentucky to at least go to the Final Four. And then hopefully win a championship. That's what I hope for every year. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know how you feel about Kentucky's season. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. We'll be back next year yet again and ready to go at it once again. Hopefully we'll have some players held over, but we will see. So, thanks for watching, guys, and as always, go Big Blue, the Kentucky Wildcats, the greatest college basketball program of all time.